the breathing of the soul, whereby it could also be still that after the breathing of the soul that it is spoiled, does not continue the growth. And then they answered to the second argument of the first opinion concerning al-azl. They said that the azl, the ejaculation outside the private part, is warding off, while in this case this is a case of lifting, and warding is easier than lifting, meaning precautionary measures. The correct opinion between these two is that of the first opinion, that it is permissible to abort. Second, if the fetus is in the state of alaqa, the thick coagulated blood, one opinion is that it is not permissible to abort this form, because they said that the alaqa, the thick coagulated blood, this is blood, and the blood is the substance of life. This is their argument. The second opinion is that it is permissible to abort, because the blood in this case is worthless, and this form is not inviolable human, and therefore in origin it is permissible. Between these two opinions, the preponderating opinion is that it is permissible if needed. Like the woman being weak physically at time of pregnancy, like a woman having many children, like in the case of a state where a woman may be married to someone and then she discovers that it is very, very difficult to live with him, and she became pregnant, so she fears for trouble and problems. There could be also a need from the side of deen. For example, she finds out that the husband does not pray, and she attempted and exerted the effort genuinely to invite him to Salah, but he refuses. In this case, she may abort. These are examples on what may constitute the need. Now, what about abortion after the breathing of the soul and the fetus? Here we have to deal with three situations. First situation, that number one, what is intended by aborting is destroying the fetus. First, I would repeat, that let me check the voice then. Can you hear me now? طيب, alhamdulillah. We're talking about now the state of aborting after the breathing of the soul. Three cases here. Number one, if what is intended is the destroying of the fetus, then this is unlawful by ijma', by consensus. This is transgressing. Secondly, what's intended in the aborting is preserving the mother. So, in this case, if the aborting would destroy the fetus, this is unlawful. And it is reported also that this is a case of ijma', of consensus, because it is not permissible to kill a soul to preserve another one. And no soul can bear the sin of another or be responsible for the sin of another. And if the fetus is kept and the mother dies, then in this case, this is not considered to be our action, not our intervention, certainly. In contrast, if we do, and we end up destroying the fetus. So if the fetus remains and the mother is destroyed due to that, then this is not in our action. This is relevant to the action of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Third case, if what is intended in the aborting is preserving of the fetus, meaning if it would remain in the womb of the mother, then it would be destroyed alone or both, the fetus and the mother. This has two elements to it. Number one, there is no need for surgical intervention. In this case, it is permissible to intervene to preserve the fetus from destruction, and this is considered medical treatment, and this is allowable. For example, the mother be given a medicine that induces the labor so that the fetus is aborted and saved. This is permissible. The second element is if the need arises for surgical intervention. This case has 4 situations to it. Number 1, the mother and the fetus are both alive. The mother and the fetus are both alive. Then in this case it is permissible if it is needed, like similar to the cases of complications in pregnancy. So they say here we need to intervene surgically. In this case it is permissible. Second, if both the mother and the fetus are dead, both the mother and the fetus are dead, in this case it is not permissible because there is no need. And in this case resorting to surgical intervention would be deformation, and there is no benefit in all of that. The third situation, the mother is alive and the fetus is dead. Like for example, if he dies in her womb, here it is permissible to conclude a surgical intervention because it is apparent that this is the only way to remove the fetus. Fourth situation, the mother is dead and the fetus is alive. One opinion is that it is not permissible to have the surgical intervention in this case because this would be a deformation, and this is the opinion of the school of thought of Imam Ahmed and the scholars rahimahumullah had this opinion because at their time they didn't have all the advanced medical tools we have in our times, and therefore the preponderating opinion is that it is permissible because of the progress in medicine to intervene to save a soul from destruction, and because the incision itself can be healed easily given the technical advancement in the procedures. These are the situations whereby a surgical intervention may be needed. Now, if in the case there is pregnancy with a fetus which may be concluded that his state is a state of a fetus that has defects, so after certain tests performed it may be concluded that if this fetus is born then it may be defective or deformed in certain parts, etc.